welcome back to the Situation Room. Welcome back, Hassan and Mahnoor. Now, Hassan, I would like to dive in. A very interesting interview has been given by the Deputy Prime Minister, Ishaq Dar, to TRT, and he had a very insightful and interesting things to say. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, in this entire, dark scheme of things, if you ask me if there is any silver lining that could give peace a chance, I would say that this statement coming from Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister is very important. He said that there is contact between the national security advisors of Pakistan and India. Now, this has come at a time when India and Pakistan are fighting against each other, of course, at the borders and other fronts too. But when the Deputy Prime Minister says that there is contact, whether it's being made public or not, but there is, of course, contact, this means that there still is light at the end of the tunnel, that we could possibly see the two countries reconciling, and we could see the conflict not exceeding and escalating into a full-fledged war. There is also a probability of it escalating and becoming a full-scale war, because despite this hope coming from Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister, just a day ago we heard a statement from Pakistan's Defence Minister, Mr. Khaja Asif, who expressed the fear that if India does not revisit its aggressive designs, there is a possibility of the current confrontation escalating and turning into a full-fledged conflict or a full-fledged war between the two countries. But today's statement coming from Mr. Ishaq Dar is a very welcome development. It shows that there is a sort of a back channel and a track 2 diplomacy going on other tracks. While we are fighting, we are also giving peace a chance. At least Pakistan is giving peace a chance. So I personally, I was very pleased and very comforting to note that Pakistan and India are still open to dialogue at this particular level, at this specific level. Of course, there is diplomatic snapping of ties too, but the contact is there. So that this augurs well for the potential or the possibility of the two countries ultimately reconciling and not further escalating their ongoing tension.
Mahnoor, what do you think about this with both India and Pakistan still being in communication right now?
I believe in the current situation, India is following only one rule of international conflict or international crisis, that is being in contact with the National Security Advisor of Pakistan, and it's the international practice. Whenever such kind of crisis occur, whenever such kind of conflict and war situation occur, the National Security Advisors always being in touch with each other. They discuss about the possibilities of de-escalation. That is the need of an hour, and especially between the two nuclear powers, it is very important, and I believe that the result would be positive, because we have seen the results of escalations, and we all know that it would not only affect India and Pakistan, but it would affect the regional stability, it would affect the peace of the region as well. And if the National Security Advisor are in touch, and from our side they are he's the military person, he knows the tactics, he knows the technology, he knows the strategy, and now he is in the diplomacy, in the track to diplomacy. So I believe the results would be positive, and obviously we are in the safe hands, and I believe that India would also understand the repercussions, and India would also understand the importance of de-escalation in this time where we both are trying to counter each other. So that's the very important time to de-escalate such kind of tensions through our national security advisors.
Thank you for that, Mahnoor. We have been joined by a legal expert, Syed Ali Abbas. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Now, Ali, what can you tell us about the international law, what it has to say about India taking this unilateral action of disregarding the Indus Waters Treaty? What does the international say about that, about a country entering into a treaty in good faith and then disregarding it later on?
Indus Water Treaty is executed by both countries and brokered by World Bank, and that is a bilateral treaty. No one can abrogate or leave unilaterally. What India is doing, he's continuously violating the terms of this treaty, and even number of times Pakistan approached to World Bank and International Court of Arbitration, and in 2013, International Court of Arbitration ruled in favor of Pakistan and says that India is violating the treaty. So, India, on one hand, not fulfilling its obligation, and now by showing excuse of a false flag operation, they are abrogating this treaty. Legally, they can't do, but they are violating, and international bodies will take its responsibility, and hopefully India will not succeed in these nefarious designs.
Ali, India and Pakistan both are in the situation of crisis where India is hitting the civilians of Pakistan and Pakistan is retaliating back by hitting the military infrastructure. So, are there any legal bindings on India, or are there any possibilities of so moto notice by the legal authorities, international legal authorities?
That is very important. After 22nd of April, when false flag operation of Palgam done by the Indian deep state, Pakistan always says that they offer neutral investigation. But instead of neutral investigation, what India do, they violate UN Charter Article 2, Clause 4, and commit aggression on Pakistan. Now India is aggressor state according to international law, and what Pakistan is doing under Article 51 of UN Charter, Pakistan is using proportional force in self-defense. And under Article 51, it's Pakistani right and lawful right that in case of any aggression and in case of any attack on civilian, the state can opt its right under Article 51 and work for self-defense.
Ali, we are living in a civilized world. We are not living in the First World War or Second World War era. We are living in a civilized world, and yet we see that India is acting way above and beyond the international treaties, international convention. For instance, the Geneva Convention's Article 57 states that you cannot damage infrastructure that is indispensable for humanity, and yet India did that. So my question is that what is stopping those organizations or those groups or those powers to stop India from doing so?
That question is very important. You just mentioned Geneva Convention, but instead of that, India is also violating bilateral treaties, even Lahore Declaration, even Shimla Declaration. India is violating all norms and international treaties, particularly UN Charter. And according to Geneva Convention, if any state act against the civilian as India is doing, it has very serious repercussions. And now it's a duty of international bodies, particularly UN, and UN is working. And I appreciate Pakistani efforts and Pakistani ambassador who are working there and Pakistani permanent representative. They are doing their best and taking this matter on international level. And you can say what the UN Secretary General that clearly shows that India is at wrong side and international community is looking at India as aggressor.
And what options do we have, Ali? Because if we say that India has acted against or in violation of international treaties, do we have options, legal options to drag India to the International Court of Justice or to the War Crimes Tribunal?
Yes, that is very important. What India is doing, even we have seen that India has hit the place of worship, which is very serious crime under international customary law and under Geneva Convention and under UN Charter. Now, there are three very important steps, and Pakistan is doing and working for it. First, there is a General Assembly, then there is a Security Council, and then there is a ICJ. And Pakistan should immediately take this matter before ICJ. And there is a clear-cut case of civilian killing. And no doubt international law and international institution and ICJ will not tolerate with India on all this.
Right.
What can the UN do to rein in India's escalatory steps that they have taken against Pakistan? What role can the UN
First of
play?
all, okay. First of all, one thing is very much clear that India commit aggression against Pakistan. So, India is solely responsible under international law what crime they are doing. Pakistan, under legitimate right of self-defense, is working. So international institution must act immediately, and Pakistan must work through diplomatic sources and through friends that UN pass a resolution while condemning the India and propose some punishment and some limitation on India.
Thank you so much for joining us, Syed Ali Abbas. Thank you. Now, Hassan, I would like to talk about Pakistan has taken the strategic decision of closing its airspace to Indian aircrafts. What has been the economic damage that India has sustained so far because of this strategy?
See, as you might agree that war is something which is not in the interest of either country nor the region. If there is a conflict, Pakistan and India are both bound to suffer economically, diplomatically, socially, politically, and the closure of the air routes for India or vice versa is of course not in the interest of either country. You must have seen that Pakistani patients were under treatment in the Indian hospitals and they were asked to leave within 48 hours. So there is of course a human cost to the problem, there is a economic cost to the problem, there is a social cost to the problem, there is of course futuristically speaking sort of a danger or possibility of more dissension between the people of India and Pakistan, even if the political regime in India is replaced by a better or a more moderate or a more liberal regime, and which is not a hardliner like Modi or his cronies. The dissension or the fragmentation that is created as a result of this conflict might take decades and probably years and maybe centuries to overcome. The people of Pakistan and the people of India have got nothing against each other. They have a lot in common. It's the political regime in India, as I say, a handful of these old men with dirty minds and dirty ideas trying to conspire against regional peace and lead India to a place which is a dead end, and now they are finding ways to slither away by resorting to one dirty trick after the other. But there is a welcome development also, Ghanwa, because we are hearing that there is still contact between the DGMOs of the two countries, the Director General Military Operations. So this is a hotline which is established between the two countries. It is still intact, it is still functioning, it is still working. And we can hope, cautiously hope, fingers crossed, that peace will be given a chance, sanity will prevail on the part of India, and this conflict is going to be resolved in an amicable way. But at the same time, what about the thirst for blood that Mr. Modi has? I don't know how many more innocent lives he wants to be taken to quench his
Very
thirst for
rightfully
blood.
said, there are no winners in a war, and this war, if it took place like on a larger scale, is going to impact the entire world. Like it's going to grow and take the entire world in its fold. So what effect do you think the global economy is going to sustain if this goes on? Pakistan is a major agricultural producer.
Sure. Pakistan is very blessed to have this very ideal geographical location. Pakistan is engaged in so many projects with other regional countries, be it the CPAC or be it the Iran-Pakistan-India gas pipeline project, be it the Turkmenistan-Afghanistan gas pipeline project, or be it the future forthcoming partnerships with Central Asia and Russia. So if Pakistan is engaged in a conflict, then certainly stability will evade Pakistan, and in this sort of chaotic situation it would be difficult for Pakistan to carry on with those potential projects, which were not only in the interest of Pakistan but also the entire region. I mean, there is investment coming into Pakistan, there is investment coming in India too, but what and how would a foreign investor react when he would see that he is putting his money in a country or the two countries which are at loggerheads with each other, where there is no certainty.
We see the stock markets reacting to this situation.
Sagging. Indian stock market is sagging. Pakistan's stock market is relatively doing better, but the point is that economy is bound to suffer when the country is engaged in a conflict. The economy, the investors' confidence, the local business activities, everything is sort of paralyzed. So, you know, in total, the bottom line is that conflict, fighting, confrontation, aggression is not in the interest of the two countries.
I believe that India was trying to socially isolate Pakistan and was trying to damage Pakistan economically, but we have damaged them. We have destroyed their 5 warplanes. That's a huge economic damage to them. But obviously, there are no winners of the war. We all know that. So we all will suffer. I believe that the whole region will suffer, and we already knew this thing. That's why we want to de-escalate things. But India and obviously the Modi government is not trying to understand the severity of the situation, and they are, you know, they are having a warmongering kind of ideology that they are promoting inside the India. But obviously the states which have invested in Pakistan, and Pakistan is not diplomatically isolated. We have good terms in the Central Asian states. Sure. We have good terms in the Europe as well. The European states are, they are doing, they are supporting Pakistan. They are, they want de-escalation of such tensions, because it's a global world. We all are connected with each other through our projects, through such kind of projects that would affect each other. So that would have a trickle down effect. So we cannot ignore any state which are under crisis, or any state which is under crisis or under conflict with other, and especially two nuclear states who are neighbors and who are having such kind of conventional warfare that is escalating every other day. So that's the alarming situation, and I believe the other states who are trying to
the region or the world can afford that kind of instability.
They cannot, and they have already realized the severity of situation, and that's why they want India to de-escalate. That's why they want them to de-escalate, and even we have given our message loud and clear that we don't want, that is not our aim to destabilize the region. That war is never our aim. We never tried it, we never initiated it, we never wanted it, but we have a second strike capability. If you try to attack our sovereignty, we will obviously we have to protect ourselves, because
as
we are
our military has shown its capability.
Exactly. And I believe world cannot afford these things, because we both are non-signatories of non-proliferation treaty, and we both are the nuclear states. The world need to jump in. They need to jump in to de-escalate such kind of tensions between India and Pakistan, because Pakistan have already understood that. Pakistan want that. That's why we have offered them impartial investigation to such kind of situation. I believe it's the 3rd week of Pahalgam attack, and since then they are not
paid any heed.
Yeah, and they are not going to accept that offer. It means that they are involved in it themselves. So I believe that India and Modi government need to understand that it would affect them as well.
Speaking about the Modi government, I would like to say that we've seen that this escalation, this false flag operation, this entire drama was initiated and started from the Indian side, from the Indian leadership. Now let's talk about the kind of leadership India has at the moment. Let's talk about the butcher of Gujarat. Tell me more about Modi and his ideology, his background.
So basically his ideology have already seen by the world. What he wants, ethnic cleansing, the greater Hindutva, he wants to promote the aggression and destabilizing the region through such kind of tactics. And obviously he is such a power hungry person. His personality is such a power hungry person who wants to destroy every other around him and just try to enlighten himself with all the things around him. So basically I believe that the government, the Modi government needs to understand that he is not a mentally stable person to be at such important position, because his leadership skills are, I believe, they are nothing. What kind of leadership he is having? He is unable to support his own people. He calls himself like we are secular, but he is unable to support, protect the Muslims there. He is unable to protect Christians there.
Community.
Sikh community there. And any sane person, any sane leader like, would you accept that he would do such things as Modi is doing in Canada, he would do such things that Modi is doing in US? Obviously no, because he is not a sane person, he is not mentally stable to be in that position, and most of their people have understood that. That's why they criticized such kind of move which he already done against Pakistan, and he criticized him, and we have seen the videos, the world has seen the videos, how he retaliated back to them. So
Hassan, do you think that Modi is inspired by Benjamin Netanyahu and his philosophy of ethnic cleansing?
100%. Both Netanyahu and Modi seem to be the offspring of Hitler, who was pursuing the same sort of policies against the Jews in Nazi Germany. The Holocaust is one such example. They seem to be very inspired by his ideas. They are following his legacy. Modi is doing in India what Netanyahu is doing in Middle East, in Palestine against the Palestinian people. They are both bloodthirsty. Their quench or their obsession for making sure that Jews emerge as the most superior race in Middle East, and Modi inspiring to make sure that Hindus emerge as the most superior caste and race in India. They both have identical dream. You are asking me about the ideology that Modi has. There is actually no ideology. If simply put, the ideology is to create a state which is larger than India, of course greater India, which is of Hindus, for Hindus and by Hindus. There is no Muslim, there is no Christian, there is no other community, there is no other religious minority that has any religious right. So this is an obsession that Modi wants, and he also is, as she very rightly pointed out, bloodthirsty. Even the blood of 800 Muslims that was shed as a result of the burning of the Ayodhya pilgrims train could not quench this man's thirst. Now there are four or five individuals, these dirty minds: Narendra Modi, Ajit Doval, Amit Shah and Rajnath Singh. These four individuals are holding hostage a country of more than 1 billion people, a country with a great history, a country which was a champion and a proponent of secularism, a country which has been for years living peacefully, existing peacefully with all the other religious minorities, be it the Muslims, be it of course there have been problems. I'm not saying that the exemplary situation has been there. It's not like that. We have had problems, even Hindu-Muslim clashes, Hindu-Sikh clashes, and of course all. But that's part of the game, you know. But we haven't seen the kind of situation that we are seeing now in India, where the Muslims are finding it even difficult to breathe openly. They are finding it difficult to live there. They have been pushed against the wall in such a way that they are fearing for their lives. They can't even live their lives openly. So that is quite a shame, and we really hope that this comes to an end, but the current circumstances actually suggest that this is not going to happen, because if you see, the Modi government is currently pursuing a very smear campaign against Pakistan, which is actually aimed at doing two things. First, they want to create anarchy in Pakistan, they want to create chaos in Pakistan, they want to create uncertainty in Pakistan in such a way that the world is not able to figure out who is right and who is wrong. I mean, I myself as a reporter, I'm even finding it difficult now to keep track of things, you know. One thing they say in the morning, in the evening they say something different. They're changing their stance, their narrative, not in hours but in minutes. So it's difficult for the world to figure out as to what India is up to, what it is doing. The utter confusion is harming Pakistan and benefiting India. So it's time for us also to live up to our experience and our expertise in fighting this warfare on the information front, on the media front, on psychological front also, because this constant state of anxiety is also causing a lot of uncertainty in Pakistan. I have been covering also the conflicts between India and Pakistan for a long time, but for me personally, this is the first time that I'm seeing settled areas being targeted by India. I mean, I vividly recall the 1999 conflict that continued for about 3 months between Pakistan and India. The entire war was fought at the borders, the Daras sector, the Kargil sector and all these other areas. There was fighting going on, conventional warfare was going on, the situation was extremely dire, but I did not see any settled area in Pakistan being targeted. I did not see anyone losing his or her life in the settled areas of Pakistan. Yes, there was across the border fighting, across the LOC fighting, and of course several people in Pakistani Kashmir got killed. But this is the first time that I'm seeing rockets or the drones being fired in Pakistan's settled areas. Now, of course,
It
Pakistan is
shows the
going to
bloodlust
and
in the Indian leadership.
bloodlust and also the lethality of Indian actions. I mean, they're claiming lives in Pakistan.
And that's against the international protocols as well.
Absolutely.
That's against that.
And
That's against the
I'm
international-
so appalled by this dismal reaction coming from the United Nations, expressing concern, expressing willingness, expressing desire. They are not going
We
beyond
see this
expressions.
happen every time an election is coming up in India. Like every single time we can look back at history, from the Uri attack to the Pulwama, there's always certain actions taking place right when the Indian election are coming up.
See, the Indian elections have been coming up in the past as well, Ghanwa. But this time the situation is not just different, but way more dangerous. It can burst into a full-fledged war between India and Pakistan. Let's face it. This is not me saying that, it's the Pakistani officials saying that. Because Pakistan is a nation that is not going to lie dormant and let India dictate us and impose their hegemony against us. This is not going to happen. Elections have been taking place in India in the past as well. This time, of course, elections are taking place, and this is, by the way, the state assembly elections, not the general elections. The
Yes.
general elections are to be held in 2029. These are the state assembly elections taking place in Bihar and Uttarakhand and West Bengal and Tamil Nadu and Odisha and Assam and all the other states, but they have a direct bearing on the general elections. I think the plan is way larger than elections is just one component of this larger scheme of things that they are pursuing. The agenda basically is that Modi in his term wants to come up with something that he could be proud of in front of those hardliners, those RSS ideologists or those anti-Muslim elements within India, that okay, this was something that was done by Modi, but I think his dreams, his aspirations are bound to turn to ashes. As a matter of fact, the arrogance that they had is already now turned to ashes. The remnants or the remains of these drones and these warplanes were not that of drones or warplanes. These remains were of those claims, of that arrogance, of that rigidity, of that stubbornness, of that negativity, of that animosity, of that acrimony that they had against Pakistan.
So I believe that it's a high time to understand that no one will come to save us. We need to save ourselves. We need to understand how international neighbors live with each other, how international borders are, and we both, India and Pakistan, need to understand that we need to de-escalate such kind of tensions. I'm not saying it as a Pakistani, I'm saying it as a journalist. It's not like that we don't have a second strike capability. It's not the like that we don't know how to do the full spectrum deterrence, or it's not like that we cannot hit them back. It's not like that we cannot do the counter strike. We have done the counter strike. We have shot down their warplanes as well. We have shot down their 30 drones as well. But still, as a journalist, as a human, we need to understand that we both are the nuclear power. We need to de-escalate the tensions. We need to learn from the European states that how international borders are, how international neighbors are, how they live with each other, how they communicate with each other, and the most important thing, how they collaborate with each other, how they build each other up. So we need to understand that, because we all know the repercussions of war. We all know that at the end of the day, it would affect our civilians at the end of the day.
Yes, thank you. That was beautifully said. And in the end, we would like to leave our viewers with a message of peace. We will be right back after a short break. Welcome back to the Situation Room. Mahnoor, now tell me, what is the role that the international community can play for both India and Pakistan to de-escalate the situation?
I believe international community can play a very good role, but they are not playing. So we should not rely on international community or international organizations for that, because we have already seen what they have done with Gaza, what they have done with like Ukraine war. So they are, I believe, I don't want to see that, don't want to say that, but they are just puppet. and they are not doing anything, and they are labeling it as a bilateral tension between India and Pakistan.
So,
and
are
we
you
need to
saying we
resolve it.
cannot count on the international community because we've seen what has happened in
We have
Gaza?
already seen, and we should know that everyone is having their own stakes, and India is well connected with such states who are dominating the international community, and we are also in contact, in collaboration through different projects with the Middle East, with our neighboring countries. So we know our power as well, we know our diplomatic win as well, we know our diplomatic strength as well, we know our our nuclear strength as well, and we know our strategic strength as well. So I believe in such condition where we have seen the response of people who are asking India to de-escalate, and still India is not following, those states who were allies to India, but now they are supporting Pakistan, and India is not realizing this situation. I believe that we, both countries, India and Pakistan, need to understand that we should not rely on international community. We should not, international community, by the way, they are supporting Pakistan. We have seen there were rallies in Europe. We have seen that, we were discussing in the last program, that international Muslim community is supporting Pakistan. They really want India to de-escalate. They really want India to step back. They really want them to behave well. But I believe that we should not rely on others. It's a very important time to realize the repercussions. It's a very important time to de-escalate. It's a very important time for our national security advisors. Obviously, we have already offered them the investigation, and that's enough which we can offer to them. We cannot offer them our land, obviously. So they need to understand, and especially I believe that's so stupid of India that they are not behaving well in such kind of condition where they are destabilizing the peace of the whole region.
Hassan, I would like to ask you, do you think that the international community is putting enough pressure on India to de-escalate in terms of Turkey, in terms of Iran, and especially Qatar recently?
The role of certain countries has been very positive. As you mentioned about Qatar, it has tried to exercise its influence over India and with Pakistan too, to facilitate de-escalation of conflict. But we also have to keep in mind that when we speak of the global powers, the first name that emerges is that of the United States. I have had a chance to speak to several American scholars and experts who believe that what Donald Trump is doing now is in complete departure to what his predecessors were doing in the past. The US has been historically acting as an international policeman when it comes to regional conflicts, when it comes to international conflicts. This is something that Donald Trump is least interested in. This is why he's acting so passively and not going beyond expression of concern and offer of facilitation. It is time for the United States and all the other important world capitals to go beyond ifs and buts. Time is running out. Time is very crucial. If this situation spirals out of control, it will neither be in the interest of the two countries nor the region. The world is already witnessing two major conflicts, and if you look at the role of OIC and the UN, what have they done? Have their concern or their expression of interest stopped the bloodshed in Gaza or in Ukraine or anywhere else?
No.
OIC is acting as a silent spectator, and someone just said that in a later note that OIC,
it sounds like you're saying that we need to count on ourselves.
We need to count on ourselves.
Or do you think we have enough powerful allies who are in our court?
See, when it comes to seeking international support, Pakistan has done whatever it possibly could by mobilizing its contact with the world capitals, by exploring all the international options, by taking on the diplomats and exploring Pakistan's.
Should we pursue some forums like the ICJ or something for the violations of international law?
Right now, the immediate concern has to be de-escalation of tension, which is simmering for the last several days. Once that comes a little down, then of course we have option to go to the International Court of Justice for safeguarding of our water rights. But now is the time for the international community to stop lying dormant. For God's sake, come out of your slumber and do something tangible, do something practical, do something empirical to stop India and Pakistan from going ahead with their conflicts. OIC has been expressing support for Pakistan, but it has been lately observed, Ghanwa, that the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, which is OIC, is only now acting as OIC. Whenever there is a conflict, I mean, whether it's the conflict between the US or Iran, the conflict between Gaza or Israel, or the conflict between India and Pakistan, they say, oh, I see. So that is something that is proving to be detrimental to the regional interest, to the international interest. This world cannot afford another conflict after Gaza and after Ukraine and Russia, and especially between India and Pakistan, which are two nuclear armed rivals. And if there is 4 or 5 dirty minds controlling the entire country, sitting at the helm of affairs, who are acting in absolute frenzy, who are acting the most frantically in their pursuits of their agendas, they are jumping beyond all the norms of civility, decency, humanity, international conventions are being violated. So this is a very dangerous situation. If it slips out of control, even the world powers would not be able to bring their genie back in the bottle.
Exactly, and I believe these 4 or 5 people are destroying the future of their own youth. We both need to work together to counter poverty, to work for climate change. We have other things to fight for.
Pakistan was economically just getting back on track with all these efforts from our government, from all these initiatives. And we don't want this to take a backtrack because of this escalation.
Even India cannot afford it. We are getting back, and we will get back to the in that power position. But even India cannot afford it. Look at their issues. Their people need basic needs. They don't have toilets in the that's the basic need.
You're right.
You're right.
I believe that we both need to understand that we have to fulfill the basic needs of the people, and then we have to go for such kind of escalations and tensions. Right now, we both, even the superpowers in the developed countries cannot afford such kind of conventional warfare. So with the conventional warfare, we are dealing with the information warfare from the Indian side as well. And at the end of the program, I would like to say to the people that don't follow such kind of accounts who are trying to promote hatred among the
warmongering.
people. Yeah, and warmongering. Don't try to follow such kind of things who are trying to promote hatred among the people, because we don't want, or leadership even don't want such kind of escalations. We have already have been very loud and clear about that. We don't want war, and we don't want to destabilize the peace of the region, but we have ability to counter strike. We have ability to protect ourselves.
Right. And just on the closing note, Ghanwa, we have seen, as you mentioned, that Pakistan's economic stability is something which is not very welcome in India. Ever since Pakistan and China started to collaborate under CPAC, India has been having these ants in the pants, and they have been acting beyond all norms of civility and humanity when it comes to confronting Pakistan, whether it's the conflict in Balochistan, which is a constant pain in the neck for Pakistan. The support coming from across the border to the Baloch Liberation Army is creating a lot of problems for Pakistan. So it's time for India to shun its negative policies and act sensibly.
Yes, with that, I would like to thank my 2 guests, Mahnoor Qureshi and Hassan Gillani. Thank you so much for being with us. And in the end, I would like to remind the world, our audience, everyone, that there are no winners in a war. We would like to leave you with a message of peace, and for you to use your critical thinking to verify your information, where you get it from, and stay alert, stay vigilant, keep watching PTV World. Take care.